Welcome back to my channel. This is the tax-free millionaire blueprint, and today we're going to be talking about Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift is a singer, and we're going to be talking about what Taylor Swift teaches us about intellectual property and wealth. So most people think Taylor Swift became wealthy because of concerts and album sales. But the real financial story behind her success is something most entrepreneurs overlook, and that's intellectual property. Understanding how intellectual property works can completely change how wealth is built in modern economy. So, the hidden asset behind music. When people hear a hit song, they think about the performance. But in the music industry, the real asset is ownership of the song itself. A song isn't just entertainment. It's an intellectual property asset. That asset can generate income through streaming platforms, radio airplay, film and television licensing, commercials, live performances, and also publishing rights. In other words, the same song can generate revenue again and again and again for decades. Why does ownership matter? One of the most discussed moments in Taylor Swift's career involved the ownership of her early recordings. The recordings are often called masters. Represent ownership of the original recording. So masters represent ownership of the original recordings. Whoever owns the masters controls how those recordings are used commercially. So the situation led to a very interesting strategy. Instead of simply accepting the situation, Taylor Swift began re-recording many of her earlier albums. These new versions are often labeled Taylor's version. From a business perspective, this was a powerful move because it allowed her to create new recordings that she now controls. Why re-recording works? You might wonder why re-recording songs matter financially. The reason for that is each recording can be licensed for movies, commercials, streaming platforms, and also television. If an artist owns the new recordings, they have greater control over these recordings and how they are used. This is a reminder that in many industries, the asset itself can be more valuable than the initial paycheck. Intellectual property is an asset. This is where the lesson expands beyond the music industry. Many professionals and entrepreneurs don't realize that they can also create intellectual property assets. Examples include educational content, books, digital products, and also software, branded courses, and also licensed materials. So the difference between income and assets. A traditional job, let's just talk about a traditional job, usually produces active income, right? You work and you receive a paycheck. But intellectual property can produce ongoing revenue. For example, a song written years ago might still generate royalties today. The same concept can apply to online courses, digital products, books, licensing agreements. The focus shifts from only earning income to creating assets that generate income. Branding and intellectual property. Another important piece of Taylor Swift's business model is branding. Her brand includes her name, album concepts, tour branding, merchandise, and also her visual identity is part of her branding. So, these elements also fall under forms of intellectual property, brand intellectual property. So, when a brand becomes globally recognizable, it can create opportunities for merchandise sales, licensing, partnerships, and also global tours. And why this matters for entrepreneurs? Most entrepreneurs focus on selling a product or a service. But some of the most valuable businesses focus on owning intellectual property. And some of the examples for that is software companies, entertainment brands, educational platforms, and digital content creators. These businesses often scale because their products are replicable without starting from zero. So the long-term wealth strategy is what makes intellectual property powerful. Its potential longevity. A song written today could generate revenue 10, 20, or even 30 years from now. That's why many industries place significant value on ownership rights. It turns creativity and ideas into financial assets. So when people talk about Taylor Swift and her success, they often focus on the concerts, the albums, or the celebrity. But behind one of the most powerful lessons is intellectual property, ownership. Understanding the difference between earning income and earning assets can be a major shift how people think and build wealth. So, if you enjoy learning about the financial strategies behind the celebrity success stories, subscribe to this channel because many of these stories reveal interesting insights about business, intellectual property, and how wealth is built in modern industries. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.